Chris, you're wearing Father Chris Riley's Youth Off the Streets t-shirt. You work as a senior youth worker, and you've been there for what, 6 years now?
Yeah.
What was your life before
As a juvenile, I was
as a juvenile?
yeah. Well, I just didn't really have much. Just left school, hanging around criminals, being a criminal. Yeah, just doing day by day, not worrying about a job, doing whatever I wanted to do.
Was that by choice? I mean, is that what you wanted to do, or is it what you had no choice?
Well, I did have a choice, but it was just myself in that stage in my life where I got kicked out of school, and I was just like, I had enough. I just want to run loose for a little bit, and that's what I did.
Now, tell us a little bit about your family background at that stage.
I have two brothers, one that doesn't live with me. I've got a brother that lives with me, older brother, and a single mum, and my mum's partner, which has been there since I was about 9, 10 years old.
Do you remember your father?
Not as much, but I've just recently reconnected with him, and
In a good way?
at the building stage, so yeah.
So when you were growing up in those really important early years, did you have men around you, grown-up adult men who were models for you?
Growing up, probably my brother, my older brother was probably my main role model. But in the community, nah, you had the wrong role models, You were taught a lot of different things and a lot of bad things, which you thought was cool at the time, and I probably followed them and thought, oh, that they're mad and I want to be like them. Looking back on that, it was totally the wrong perspective of life, yeah.
But at the time, it looked like that was the thing, that's what men did.
Yeah, definitely, because I grew up in a high population of housing commission, and everyone knew what everyone was doing then. There was like top dogs and, these people, and you see people like that and you think, oh, I want to be like that when I'm like their age, and, I want people to respect me, and be scared of me like they're scared of them, do you know what I mean?
Yes. What sort of things did you get involved in?
Mainly just like probably drinking alcohol, a couple of thieving cars, yeah, just hanging out with the wrong people, driving my mates. I was the only like legit one who had a license, and I was driving my mates out to do crime and doing stuff like that. So,
How did you feel about yourself in those years?
I thought it was cool. But yeah, thinking back on it, yeah, it was only a one-way road for me, and that was jail or, yeah.
Did you ever get to jail?
No, I got close, but yeah, I was very close.
What was your relationship with your mother at the time?
I was brought up. My mum brought me and my brother up very good, and she taught us right from wrong, and she's a very strong woman, and I don't blame anything on her. It was myself, and yeah, she was my backbone, and she did everything for me and told me right from wrong too. So,
you're part Aboriginal.
yes.
Did that ever have a play in it?
Not really, because my mob's originally from Coonamble, out northwest, and I didn't really have much contact with my Aboriginal side of the family. It was just my mother, and my mother didn't know really much, and she moved away from that to come to Sydney to start a new life with me and my brother, and so I sort of lost my culture moving to Sydney. But since maybe 6 years or 5 years ago, I've started to reconnect with my culture.
And has that been important?
Yes, definitely. Learning stuff and hearing stuff from elders and getting their knowledge is grateful to me, and knowing my history and my family's history is amazing.
You've changed your life quite deliberately, and we'll come back to that in a second about when and how and why. But I'm just curious about the people that you were hanging around with, that you felt were leading you astray, were they, do you think, also susceptible to change like you were, or had they decided that that was their life?
Yeah, they could have changed if they wanted to, but I think they were too far into it. At my stage, I wasn't that far into it. I was dabbling with stuff, and my mates were homeless and needed that for money, needed to do stuff for money, and they were way too far into it to get out. And for me, it was just, I'm just testing the waters and see if I like it or not.
Macquarie Fields has now a connotation with the riots, but that's not the only thing. I mean, there were some things you were saying that there are some benefits that you got out of it. You feel that you learned a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely. If I would probably rather grow up in Macquarie Fields in that housing community than some rich area and be real posh or whatever. Just because I've learned a lot of stuff over the years. I've learned the person who I am today is because of Macquarie Fields, and I respect that immensely.
What are some of the things, if you can identify, that you've learned in that environment? Is it worldliness, streetwise?
Yeah, it's like streetwise,
Yeah.
knowing the community, knowing what people are going through, understanding them. Because Macquarie Fields is like a big circle. It just generation to generation just keeps following the same thing, and and once I was a part of that circle, and we're hoping to break that cycle, and by knowing what they were going through, them young people is what I'm trying to install and say, look, I've been there and done that. You need to change.
Well, to simplify that, I mean, what you're saying is that you now feel that you have a purpose,
Yeah, definitely.
whereas you didn't before.
Yeah.
And that is a good feeling.
Yeah, it's my feeling.
What about some other relationships, and how have they changed? Has your relationship with your mother changed?
No. I
That
love
was
my
always
mum.
good.
Yeah, it's always been good.
And with your brother?
My brother, yeah.
Yeah.
He's-
What about the friends, the group of people who perhaps you shouldn't have been with? Have you retained any kind of relationship with them?
I still have one of a good mate of mine. He's like a brother to me, and he was with me during that stage of my life, and he helped me through everything and taught me a lot too. And I look at him as a brother too. And there's a couple that I talk to still, but there's a couple that aren't going to change, and they're going to be like that for the rest of their lives. So I kind of take a step back away from them.
How do they see you, though, do you think?
Oh, they look at me as the same person, just because of the work that I do. They just, I don't know, they still respect who I am and what I do. And Macquarie Fields is a community. No one hates each other. Like if I've grown up in Macquarie Fields and people have known me since I was little, then they're always going to be my friend, whether they're criminals, junkies or whatever. They're still gonna.
Do they respect you any less or any more now?
No, they respect me the same. Like it's like I'm still one of Macfielders or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And I use the word respect because I know it's a big thing, especially for young people, to feel respect. But there are different kinds of respect. As you said, there's fear, the alpha, the leaders
Yeah.
of the gangs, you fear them. To what extent does that change, or has that changed in your view of them? Do you still respect them and fear them, or do you see them slightly differently?
Macquarie Fields has changed heaps. Like a lot of things. Like I was talking about the cycle. A lot of people have been like locked up, are in jail, and there's people trying to be them people, and it's just totally. Like I said, it's a cycle, and it's always changing, and there's I don't know who's top dog now. I don't know that. Like when I was younger, I did, but I don't know.
But you still work in Macquarie
In
Fields.
Macquarie Fields,
That's
yeah.
where you do your work.
Yes.
Give us an example of the sort of things that you do there.
Well, we just built a youth centre out there, a COSH Centre for Youth, and we have 3 departments in that centre. We've got Aboriginal services, which I'm a part of. They've got the Kosh Centre itself, which is a drop-in centre, and then they've got Eden College, which is a school for disadvantaged kids or kids that have been kicked out of normal mainstream schools. So,
Can you tell us one or two examples where you've interacted with young people in Macquarie Fields where you've seen some change?
not so much Macquarie. Like Macquarie Fields, yeah. I could talk to anyone in Macquarie Fields and like pull them up, or tell them to pull their heads in, or anything like that. But I work closely with a school from Youth Off the Streets. It's based in Maryland. It's called Aspire, and a couple of them students they're Aboriginal, and I've worked immensely closely with them, and I think I've changed the perspective of their lives and made them think differently. And recently, when I was on holidays, I gave one of the young people my number, and I said, "Look, if you get in trouble, if you ever need anyone to talk to, just ring me." And he probably rang me about 10 times when I was on holidays just to catch up and say how I'm going, and like what a mate will do. Do you know what I mean?
That must be a satisfying feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I really enjoy what I'm doing.
What about your relationship? Well, when you were 10, you didn't have any girlfriends, I suspect, or
Yes.
not too serious. Has your view or your relationships with women other than your family changed at all?
No, I've been with my partner now for 5 years, on and off for about 7, 8. So she's been with me the whole process through Youth Off the Streets, and yeah, she's proud of me too. And my family, her family, they're all proud of me and the way that I've changed my life and did it for the better.
Let's talk about the time that you made that decision to do something about your direction. Can you tell us how it came about, why it came about?
Yeah, back in 2005, I was 17 at the time. Yeah, like I was saying, I was drinking, hanging out in the streets, roaming around, doing whatever. And we got some bad news that there was a high-speed chase in Macquarie Fields. And at the end of it, I lost a good friend of mine in a car crash. And that kind of hit me hard, and yeah, that really changed my life. I didn't want to do that anymore, and losing a mate at such a young age was the hardest thing probably ever happened to me at that time. And yeah,
What did you do? How did you know where to look for help or change your direction?
I looked through them people that were there for me and helping me, my mates. And yeah, one thing led to another. The public disturbance happened, and I was involved in that, and I got arrested for it, and yeah.
And then along came Father Chris Riley, or what,
Yeah,
how
so
did that happen?
I got arrested. I was charged as a juvenile about a month or two after the public disturbance. Father and his team came into Macquarie Fields and set up an outreach program, which was just a barbecue on a basketball court, and it was nothing. And me and a couple of mates went down there, had a feed, started chatting with the youth workers down there, and yeah, that's where it started. And we built a really close relationship with the youth worker, and then I think I showed a lot of respect to Father. I always had a yarn with him, had a chat with him, and then Father asked me and another friend of mine if he wanted to travel to the Philippines with him, and yeah, we said yeah, definitely mad. We thought it was going to be a free trip, free trip overseas, yeah, mad, but it was nothing like that. It was like we worked really hard, and it really opened our eyes up.
What was it about the trip to the Philippines in particular that you think affected you so much?
A lot of street kids. The jails. Well, we went into a jail over there, which was like men, but little kids too, probably 13, 14-year-olds. And there's cells, and it was just cement and barbed wire, like, and wire, whatever it is, and it just really shocked me. And like I thought, you know, wow, there's no juvenile justice. It's just you do something wrong, you're going straight to that jail. And it really, really shocked me. And I was almost crying when I was over there. And I was like, here I am, big tough guy from Macquarie Fields. But we didn't take money over there. Father, he gave us all $100 each, and he thought, you know, we'd go out, buy our mum some, do whatever. But we went and bought all these thongs and mats, and ended up handing them out to the homeless kids and the kids in jail. And that's when Father kind of thought, hey, I've you know, touched these kids, so maybe they can work for me and help me. So when we got back in to Sydney, we said to Father, look, we think we can make a difference in our own community. And then our Father asked me and my friend if we wanted to be trainee youth workers, and we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into, and here I am today.
So you're, in a sense, what you were doing when you came back was to try and stop kids ending up in jail and ruining their lives.
Yeah, definitely. A major part of my work was a lot of kids, a lot of young people in Macquarie Fields were stealing cars. And not long after what happened in 2005, another young person was killed in a car crash. And it was like, when is it going to stop, sort of thing. And we needed to get through to these young people that, you know, stealing cars is not the go. It's not fun. It's not. This is how you lose lives and lose your friends' lives. And I think we've finally gotten through to some of these kids. And since Father's been in Macquarie Fields, I think the crime rate has dropped significantly, and he's done an amazing job out there.
With help from people like you?
Yeah, definitely.
How many others who work there with you?
So to start off with, there was three trainees workers. That was back in 2006. Father had the idea of hiring trainee youth workers from the area which knew the area, and now it's grown out to probably about 25 trainee youth workers across all outreaches, so it's gotten pretty big.
Do you see it as a career?
Definitely. I've spent 6 years here now, so I think I owe it to Father, and he's changed my life immensely. And like I've always said, like I'm not going to pay Father back. I'm going to pay it forward, and I'm going to look after kids and teach kids not to do what I did, you know what I mean, and put them down that right path.
What do you think is, or what are the things that people listen to you, kids, what convinces them to accept what you say to them?
Just because I'm on their level too, and I'm down to earth, and I believe I have good communication skills, and I can be a kid too, do you know what I mean? And what's so good about that is that young people look at me as one of them, because I'm not like a teacher or I'm not bossing them around.
You're not the authority figure.
Yeah. I'm just a friend sort of thing, and a friend that's given someone advice, and I think that's why I'm well respected, and you know, like they talk to me and they open up to me.
So you're consciously a role model.
Yeah.
Yeah. What impact does that have on you, if any? Do you think about that consciously? That you've got? Does it constrain you at all?
Living in Macquarie Fields and working in Macquarie Fields?
No,
yeah.
Being a role model.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I'm saying like being a role model
right.
and living in Macquarie Fields and working in Macquarie Fields. Yeah, like I gotta have my game face on 24/7. So if I see something happening down the shops and I know them, yeah, that's work. I've got to help them out, or you know what I mean.
You say that's work, but it's also become your life, hasn't it?
Yeah, so that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Work is my life at the moment, so
yeah.
I love what I do, and I do it because I'm passionate about it.
What else, when you're not at work, what sort of things do you like to do when you're relaxing?
Play footy. So I'm a rugby league man, yeah.
Right.
That's about it.
That's it. But that keeps you going.
Yeah, so yeah, train 2 nights a week, play on the weekends.
And with your partner, what sort of things do you do socially?
Yeah, hang out, go to movies, just dinners, whatever, yeah, dates, whatever, yeah.
Does it ever come up in conversations with people that you work with, kids, or at least young people, about their relationship with women? Does that ever? Is that ever? Do you have to address issues?
Sometimes it is an issue, but I think it's just the way they speak about women. Yeah, like you just pull them up and say, look, you can't say that, or you don't look at it like a girl like that. Like it's weird, but it's it's the way you have to change their mindset about life in general, like
Yes.
all across the board.
Yeah, and I mean that's a cultural, in a sense, culture meaning that area, the group of people create their own culture, and their how would you describe their relationship to women generally?
Women generally, they look at them as a figure or something. You know what I mean? Like you get a lot of young kids like, or young people who say, oh, like look at her, I'd like to do, you know, whatever to her, and then you're just like, you know, oh, you know, maybe she's got a boyfriend, or maybe she's got kids. How would you like if that was your mum or something? And people are saying that about your mum, and they kind of change their perspective on it.
I mean, that's the thing that makes a big difference, and that's empathy towards other people, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that's very hard to actually teach, I suspect, but you can by example show that. So that's something that, are you able to do that? Do you, for example, do people see how you behave with your partner?
Oh, not really. No. I try to keep my partner away from my work too. So me and my partner, if we do anything, it's always we go out of Macquarie Fields. I don't hang out in Macquarie Fields, and I try to keep my social life away from Macquarie Fields, so I don't have that conflict, whatever. So,
is there something that you feel that you're trying to achieve? Is there some specific goal that you want to achieve?
Definitely culture. I think in Sydney or in Macquarie Fields or in the outer suburbs of Macquarie Fields, a lot of these Indigenous kids are losing their culture, like I did, and I think culture is a major part of Indigenous people and knowledge. So we need to either install it in and get elders and get these people in to start telling these knowledge. Otherwise, it's going to be lost and no one's ever going to know about it. And Aboriginal people are the richest people and the richest culture in the world, and I believe that if it doesn't get passed on, then it's just going to be forgotten, and it's just going to be a dying race.
But it also seems to have a very positive impact. We've spoken to other people, Indigenous people, who say when they've started to get more and more involved with their own culture, it gives them something.
Yeah, sense of belonging. Yeah, definitely. If someone knows where they come from and knows their mob or knows what tribe they come from, then you can, you know,
Gives you some sort of sense of roots.
Definitely. Sense of belonging, sense of acceptance. Yeah.
And it gives you moral strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it becomes a part of the structure of your life and your character. Yeah. Right.
So, like for me, it was like I didn't know anything about my culture, and I knew I was Aboriginal. That's it. And then I spoke to my nan, started asking questions, and yeah, I started learning stuff, and then I started teaching my mum stuff which she didn't know, and which is great. And I passed the knowledge on to my brother. My brother wants to learn stuff, and yeah, so knowledge is great, and you need to keep passing it on to kids or to young people or to anyone that needs to know.
There is, of course, a spiritual element to that. And
yeah.
Is it the spiritual element that you're passing on, or is it basically knowledge about your tribe?
Mm,
Or
not
both?
really. It's more about like elders that tell me, like they have good yarns with me, good talks with me. Look, they say, Chris, this knowledge needs to be passed on. Like this culture is the richest culture, like I said, and people need to know about it, and people need to know about our history and what happened to our people, and a lot of kids, Aboriginal young people these days, don't know anything about that. And my role as Aboriginal youth worker is to teach kids their culture and let them know where they come from and culturally support them. So
And you see them responding to that?
yeah, definitely. Cultural support is my main goal, and a lot of Indigenous clients or young people don't have a sense of belonging. But when another Indigenous person like me talks to them and encourages them, then they have that sense of belonging and sense of acceptance, and they really like connect with me. So.
Have you ever experienced any really negative responses to you?
Not personally,
No.
but I have heard of like stuff like that. So personally, to myself, not really.
So your forward plan, your looking ahead, is to continue to do what you're doing
Yep. Stay with youth off the streets.
and try and keep them off the streets.
Yeah. So yeah, work with yachts. Probably move up in the world, move up with yachts, and hopefully one day manage a program or do something like that.
Make your mark.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you very much.
Thank you.